What's up? What's up? Friday? Wait, no, we're Thursday, ain't we? Almost Friday.
It's
My
not
bad.
Friday yet.
My
It is
bad.
Thursday.
My bad. So I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time going through everything, but Girls Fish Better is basically the sponsor for tonight, but all the sponsors are listed down below, and we are gonna have a code cap Captain was Capt Deb 25. So it's CAPT DEB 25 gets you $49.95 off the Obsession Series rods only, not the
$50
combos.
off.
$50 off.
$50.
That's $100. You get it for $100. So anyway, let's get into it. This is my guest tonight. We are here at Green Cove Marina, Garden Cove.
Cove Marina. Buzzard's Roost.
Yeah, I'm thinking Jacksonville.
He's not from
Yeah, I'm
around
not
here.
from around here. So Buzzard's Roost, Garden Cove Marina, and this is Captain Deb Deyo. And I could go into everything she does, but that's why we're here tonight, to discuss everything you do and your life, basically.
Oh, joy. Everybody's going to love this. I'm telling
So
you.
I have been wanting to do this for a while. We've known each other maybe what
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, something like that.
And you know, probably through listening to the Weekly Fisherman Show, which she is call in for the Keys report.
Yes.
And so, you know, Joe following you, and then I started following you, and yeah, so yeah, that's kind of.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
I'm glad
Welcome
to be
my
here.
home.
Yeah,
This is what you call my home dock, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And this is the boat in the background. It's
absolutely
the boat that you drive, and
Yes.
we'll get into that. So, yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, and we have some friends that drove down.
Thank you for being here.
Boomer and Kelly.
Yay!
Yeah. So
we have an audience.
Yeah, these the roost, the buzzard roost. I don't know if they know what to expect.
They don't.
So
absolutely not.
We're gonna try to keep it not as adult as we'd like, but we're gonna try to keep it I don't know, PG-13.
It's 18 and up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we
You
say.
might have to have some chaperones.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's no
maybe.
change with me.
Depends on the stories we get into. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some good ones. I tell you that.
So let's just get into where you grew up, and then we'll trickle on how you made your way down here. But you know where you grew up, and yeah, just.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and start. I'm from a little town called Catfish, North Carolina. It's out in the middle of the boondocks, I guess is what you want to call it. In the Appalachian type of North Carolina.
Yeah. So I mean, at least it's not called Slap Out, which that's one in Alabama. I know.
No,
but
no slap out.
Catfish is
Catawba County, North Carolina.
Okay, that's the what's the college? I had a buddy's daughter play softball at that.
Lenore Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the college there in Hickory called Lenore Ryan.
Yeah. And there's a 2A or a junior college called Catawba.
Yes, Catawba Valley Community College. Yes. And they have an awesome bass fishing team now. Friend of mine is the coach out there. So it's nice to keep in touch with home, that's for sure. But I really enjoy living 1,000 miles from there.
Yeah. It's like I moved my parents down. I told my mom, I was like, my mom and dad, I said, don't you want to move to Stewart? No. We'll live in Lake Placid. That's far enough away from drama, you know? So anyway, so you grew up there, and I mean, just go from there. Like, you I guess you ended up getting married.
Yes.
You know, what kind of work did you do prior to all that?
Well, I was married 18 years. I'm a nurse by trade.
Okay.
I did occupational health care, which I was in a furniture company, and I was their occupational nurse. So they came to me. And I did a lot of that kind of thing with nursing, and I enjoyed that part. But my love's always been fishing. You know how you go to work, but then you come home and you watch fishing shows, or you come home and you still dream about, and you still have your dreams.
So who got you started fishing?
My family's actually been in fishing, and my grandfather's from New Paltz, New York, on my father's side, and he was a lake trout fisherman, a really good one. And then my grandfather on my mother's side used to take me catfishing in Lake Lookout, where I ended up buying my first house. On the lake out there, when I was 2 to 3. So we did a lot of fishing. My father and my mother, we started coming to the Keys when I was around 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
And I caught my first mahi, my dolphin.
Yeah.
I was probably 6 years old, and I fell in love with blue water, and I fell in love with the Keys. And you know how life kind of hits you and things go crazy, and you got to figure out what you're going to do right in life. So actually one day I walked in, I quit my job, and then I walked home and I quit my husband, and I came to Paradise.
Okay.
And I love it.
And it was just like that. I mean,
I did it. It's called a midlife crisis, and I did it.
And
that's for sure.
You were at midlife and said, you know what, screw it.
I was 36.
Okay.
36 when I moved here and I started this journey. And I came down. He actually came down and tried to get me back and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He ended up going back to North Carolina and settling up there, and I stayed here. And it's part of the Keys is always been in my life because of my childhood.
Right. But did y'all come down once a year pretty much?
With my parents, yeah. But for the, first 10, 12 years of my marriage, we just went to the Outer Banks and fished it on the lake.
Right.
Did some stuff like that.
Did a little surf fishing for reds.
And I used to watch TV a lot. And read magazines a lot. And read
and
a
lot of Keys blue water stuff.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of people that's been a big influence on the media world. George Parmano to just watching things, the fly fishing, everything from that used to be on TV.
Yeah.
That, and I feel like when I first moved to Alameda, I was living in that dream because I would be somewhere, and then next thing you know, I'd see Flip Pallet or Sandy Moret, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm starstruck, and it's like, oh, and then you get in and I ended up coming down right before Irma.
Okay.
I was here 2 weeks before my house blew away, and I swear to God it did, and I'll show you a picture. And I lost everything in Big Pine, and I came back up towards I stayed and I worked the Red Cross booth at Big Pine for a little while, for about a week, and then everything was. There's no power. There's no anything down there. So I came up north.
Yeah.
And I ended up at Tea Table Bridge.
Tea Table Bridge.
In my little Explorer.
Okay.
And I walked in a Bud Mary's Marina one day, and I begged Lenny.
Yeah.
Who's a big part of the reason why I'm here. That's for sure. But for a place to stay and a job.
Yeah.
And Nick Stanzik was there. And everybody who's in the fishing world knows. But I had no clue at the time who he was. Right. I had no clue. I knew who Bud Mary's was, but I didn't know. And he actually gave me a place to stay and a job. And that's what started my whole career. Was the generosity of this island and the people.
Right.
And then I worked there quite a bit, and up until COVID. But what really got me was I was working in the tackle shop, but then I was bone fishing at night.
Right.
And that's what really started it. It's the passion.
Right. So you talk about Irma. So funny thing, you basically came down right before Irma.
Mm-hmm. It was probably about 13 days.
So I had moved. I was doing work in Florida. And my daughter was going to school in Alabama. Long story short is I'd moved up there, and I said, you know what, I got to move back to Florida for good. So I asked the company I work for, I said, hey, do y'all care where I live? And they said, no, as long as you go where we tell you to go. And I was like, okay, I want to move back to where I grew up in Lake Placid. Well, I put the offer in on my house the Friday before Irma hit.
Wow.
And so I left. I was living in Lake Butler. I left, went to Alabama. When I came back, because it turned and went right through where I live.
That cold front
turned. And so I'd never seen my town like that. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it was just funny. I moved back like 2 weeks after Irma hit. I moved back to where I live now. So it's just funny. Yes. Our journeys both ended up.
Yeah, I moved here.
You moved there.
Yes, exactly. It's not destruction. But, I feel like that was like part of my plan, not knowing that plan myself, but part of who, my journey. And that's, I saw so much devastation down here. And the only thing I could feel was that I needed to stay here to do whatever I can to help build this island back.
Yeah.
And I still today promote every time that I hear, because this island's my family. I mean, I feel like this island saved my life for what I did in North Carolina, and meaning I didn't do anything wrong, but I came here to start my life.
Right.
And I was granted that because I did hard work and I showed up, and it's what I had to do.
So I know you had told me a story before when we first kind of met, because when you told me this, it is why I thought, other women needed to, hear your story and how, hey, you need, you just keep going. But you had talked about you had to stay under bridge in your boat, and you came down here with hardly anything to your name.
Nothing. I had $300 and nothing. I didn't have a boat at the time.
Yeah.
I had a Ford Explorer, and that thing explored out. I mean, it died. Found on road dead. I swear. And I was lucky to meet a lot of people and family and what I call family, and it doesn't have to be blood.
Right. Oh, no.
And Captain Walter Mason, who is a prominent member in Islamorada, he actually sold me a car for $300 so I could get back and forth. And it's just the heart and some of the people, and I'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot. I didn't have anything.
And he didn't have to do what he did.
Absolutely not. And there's so many people on this island that doesn't have to do what they do.
And I kind of feel not that I moved down here, but it's just something about Florida in general, in the center of the state, the island. I mean, because center state is more my people, the coastal stuff, and then you get to the island, which is kind of like a mixture of both.
Right.
But there's just something about Florida that I was like, you know what, I got to come back.
Yeah.
I stayed away too long. I left for 28 years and then came back.
Yeah.
But it's just something about it and the people, but that I say that's the working people throughout the whole United States has that heart of willing to help people. It's the city things that get in the way. The city, for the most part.
I think it's a difference in culture. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've seen different things. This is definitely a melting pot down here in the Keys. That's for sure. And I've come around people that I wouldn't think that would help me, and are the biggest supporters I've ever had. So it's definitely a person's heart and how they are, but it's also they see your passion and they see that this is what you want to do, and
that you're working for.
Exactly.
And so let's talk about so you worked at Bud and Mary's, and Rick kind of were you deckhand for him, or how'd you start out first?
No, I was actually in the office booking charters. I would answer the phone and I would sort bait, and I would, go wax a boat if I started crying, because that man taught me there ain't no crying in fishing. And when I left North Carolina, that was hard on me. You know, you go from having a good job to actually having nothing, and you got to figure out where you're going to be, and you got to completely start over. And so, but the thing about it is that my serenity came from being on the flats and being out in the skiff. And actually his father, Richard Stanzik, Nick and Rick's father, took me out and showed me what patience meant. Not only what it was, but that's what he gave to me was he taught me patience in fishing. And that's hard to do, but it's the hard work. And when I started booking charters, and I befriended a lot of these charter captains, because they have to have someone like me to make their bills, and I need them to get information to learn. And that's, if you're not learning this industry, you might as well pack your bag and go back where you come from. And I enjoy learning all about it, and I fell in love with bone fishing. And bone fishing is something that will always hold a special place in my heart. But I think, and I have thought about this a lot, but if you do something over and over again and repetitive, you know, that's the definition of insanity to me. Absolutely. So I go out and I'm on so many different boats, and I've had people say, "Hey, Deb, you have so many jobs, or you can't stay on a boat," or, you know, I've had all kinds of people tell me all kinds of things. But, you know, I'm out there because I want to learn. I want to learn how to run that boat. I want to learn how to change that bilge pump. I want to get down there and I want to get on hands on. And that's what I have been doing since I've got here in 2017.
Okay. All right. So, I guess let's talk about, and I know we had this conversation at lunch, talk about, and you know, there's not, and you know, I started the Girls Fish Better with an idea, but that there's not a lot of women captains. And so what is it like? And I know, well, one, you have to show your hard work, but what's it like trying to, as a woman, get into being a captain and more of a male dominant thing? Or it has always been up till probably the last 8 years, maybe, that really women have started more. At least that's what I've seen just with the girls stuff, is that there's more and more women trying to become captains. And, you know, but what, you know, you had to show your hard work, but what was it like? And I know you still get crap probably every now and then, but
if I didn't, I wouldn't be in this industry, you know.
But I mean, what's it been like for you know, being a woman trying to get in that field?
It's been actually pretty positive. But I think that most of the older generation of captains, and especially charter captains, actually they may not tell it publicly that they're behind me, but I think they are, because they want to see someone like me succeed. And I have had more, you know, cheers and more support than I've had negativity. However, I do work my butt off. And I can, you know, if I need to go fishing and I can't find a mate, I'm going to figure out how to go. And it's something that you have to show up every day. You have to put your, you know, your best game forward. I'm a very competitive person out there. I like to do things and succeed at them. Yet when the competition is tough, and people do say things, and there have been a few things that it's been very difficult to kind of say, "Oh, well, okay, I'm glad that's how you feel." You know what I mean? It's like, But I've had a few incidents. You know, I was a backcountry guide, as everybody knows. I still do that. I have a skiff. I've had a few different experiences on that. I'll go ahead and tell you a story if you want me to.
Before you hold that story, we'll get back to the stories part. So the one thing I want to know, and I want to ask you, I don't know if we've had this conversation, but Far as your support, have you found it that the men are more encouraging and supportive than some of the women? Because in what I've seen in the last 4 years with the girls stuff is women are a lot meaner and nastier to each other than, and I'm just curious, you know, are there, do you have more negative stuff coming from the women's side than the males?
I have been personally attacked by women in this field. Absolutely, 100%.
But I mean, do the men show more support?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just depends on the age group of the women, to be honest with you. And I'll just go ahead and tell you flat out.
Yeah.
If you know, it's hard if they're older generation, they're a lot more supportive.
Yeah.
But some of them are not, and some of them are competitive and they're ruthless and they do things. And you know, and I get Instagram messages, I get Facebook messages, I get TikTok messages, you name it, I get it, trust me. But you know, you have to be iron-hearted at that time, and you can't let that bother you, because if I let anything that people have said to me over these past 8 years of me being in this business, I'd still be on a couch in Catfish, North Carolina.
Right. No, I was just curious because I see it.
Yes.
I've talked with girls at ICAST or where they were trying to get in the fishing industry, and then you have people in some corporate settings that just degrade her, and she's trying to get in, and it's, you know, women from, and I have no idea why they did it to her, but she's like, I have no idea. And it was just crazy. She said all the men were, you know, hey, you just need to do this, and this. And, you know, not that I'm trying to, it's just stuff that I've seen. And even though you worked your way into being a captain and, you know, more of a male dominant field, you would think that women would celebrate that more and be more uplifting, and it's not that. And I see a bunch of, hey, we support all women, you know, all this and that, and then in the end they don't. And it's sad to me to look at that and see, because
and some women do, but you know, like in a male dominated, they don't understand it. That's the thing about it, is like I drive big, you know, sport fishing boats. They don't understand it. I can tell you from the bottom of the bilge to the top of the tuna tower what things are, how they work, this and that.
And you've had to fix them.
And I've had to fix them even when I'm sinking offshore. Yes, absolutely.
And we'll get into that.
We will get into that story. But I can go ahead and tell you that I think that a lot of them wish that they could understand things.
Yeah.
But and I have been attacked either, you know, in different ways. But like I said earlier, it's all how you handle that.
Right.
And
you got to have thick skin.
I have thick skin, but I have a very small circle.
Right.
Very, very small circle.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, but then some ladies we do, like I have a couple friends of mine here in Key Largo that would do anything for me.
Yeah.
And they are not a captain or a charter captain or anything like that, but they support me because of what I'm doing.
Right.
And I've had a lot of support from women on that end.
Yeah.
Now it's the other type in the industry, such as ICAST and such as other women in the industry that think that I've had problems with. However, you know, it's all how you deal with the situation. I've raised children, so I don't have to deal with that childish behavior.
Right.
You deal with it.
Yeah.
You go catch more fish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could stay on that and get mad about it and everything.
I'm not mad,
but
I go catch more fish.
Yeah.
And I try harder.
Right.
Because that's how you talk in this business.
But also the fact that you carry yourself in a professional manner.
Correct.
Instead of, and I'm not going to get into that, instead of Yeah.
And we both know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And
we ain't gonna.
No, but we
and
do.
and that's the way I've chose anybody I've ever and GFB fishing is not that big, but when I choose to pro staff somebody, I look for somebody that's more professional and as far as their reach, do they have to I'm sorry, do they have to get in a bikini to get that reach, or do they carry themselves where they know how to fish and they're a fun view to
right.
It don't hurt to be pretty, but
Yes.
you don't have that's the way I look for
and I'm very proud that I came through this industry without having to take my clothes off and without having to be in a bikini and without having to be topless anywhere on a fishing charter. And I have a group of girls that I have met throughout going through this business that respect that. And yes, if you have it, show it, I guess, whatever. But I just don't feel like that. And I feel like you should be able to show skill set.
Yes.
You can drive a boat, you can fish.
Yeah.
Then you can do that job correctly as a professional. I'll put my skills up to what I mean? But I'm definitely not getting on a boat in a bikini.
Right.
And going on a charter. Sorry.
Yeah. So now we got that question out of the way.
Sorry, Warren.
No, you're good. You're good.
Not happening.
Yeah. All right. So now we need to get back to story time, and in the realm of becoming a captain, a lady angler captain, and some of the stuff you've had to deal with on charters.
Oh yeah.
You were fixing to tell us a story about the skiff. An inshore trip. So you go ahead, you can start that.
He knows the story. So I mean, I started out as a bone fishing captain, of course, and I bought a skiff. I have a skiff. I have a Chaos. She's built by Jarrett Bay, one of my favorite things. Anyway, I was taking a guy out fly fishing for bonefish on a charter. It was just me and him. We were sitting on a flat somewhere in Isla Mirada, and he's casting, right? And I turn, and he turns around, and that's not the only pole he had out at the time.
He was trying a different kind of fishing.
We ended that charter really fast and went back to dock. But that has only happened to me one time out there. But I've had some other weird type of things that.
So I don't even want to get in because I've been on Facebook. They have a Gen X single thing, and it's just for entertainment purposes. And
you are entertainment.
But the girls always ask, why do you guys need to send fishing pole pictures? and I'm like, what guy thinks that they need to do that? And the fact that you turned around and he was fishing for something else, and
absolutely, it happens.
That don't make sense.
It happens a lot, and that's part of our culture now in social media. Unfortunately, that you will get one or two here and there, but you just kind of got to close your eyes and think, "Oh gosh, I didn't see that."
I mean, what what was the ride back like back?
I made him sit on the bow of the boat like qualified captain. Definitely. Absolutely. He had it. I made him sit there. And we got back to the dock, and it was a little crazy,
awkward.
Little
awkward.
Yeah, I told him not to worry about it, and I know.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I'm a professional.
Right.
And when we go out, I'm not going to.
We're fishing.
That's right. Fishing. And only fishing. And that's one reason why I quit running a backcountry boat there for a while is because
the
safety of it. But, to be honest with you, I have a friend now that I carry with me that will take care of my safety issues.
Okay.
So but you never know when there might be a alligator or a croc around.
That is
you never know.
That is crazy.
there's been lots of stories, but I mean, a lot of fishing things is, I mean, I could tell you some really genuine things of, and a story comes to me. And since we're sitting here talking about stories,
we're in the story time.
We're in story time.
I mean, we've got through how you got here.
Yes,
I'm now we're in story time.
I'm here now, but I was running a boat out of Key Largo, and we had a few naval submarine officers from from I'd say back in the 80s, older veterans on board with their wives, 2 wives and 4 of the vets. Well, they were on a submarine. Well, there's a subwreck out Key Largo. So basically what I did was we went out and we started doing the Key Largo, in fishing. And all of a sudden a cubera came up and ate during the day on this wreck.
Really?
So I had no clue that these guys had been on a submarine all their lives. And to have the goosebumps, I would say, when that fish came up, and that was the most precious fish for these people, and to be part of that, it still gives me goosebumps. And those are the type of things that I do as a charter captain, is that I try to give you the best experience, a lifetime experience, that you can out on the water.
Yeah, because
I heal people more on the water than I ever did in an office.
Well, the studies is if you are around water for at least 10 minutes a day, your life's a whole lot better.
Well, I can attest to that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I mean, studies have been done, and there's just something about it. I mean, I was at a marina with a camper. I wasn't on the water, but as soon as I came out of that camper, I looked at the water, and just something about just standing there looking at it for a little bit.
It makes you go, ah.
Yeah, I feel a lot better now.
I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I know you had slipped up to start to say about one of your stories about the sinking 20-something miles offshore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was that day like? How did it?
So I used to run a single screw. Most people that follow me here in the Keys, they know that I used to fish out of Wahoo's or down in Isla Mirada and Well Harbor Marina.
Yeah.
I used to run a boat out of there. It's a single screw. And the one comment that I got when I ran that boat is like, okay, well, she can run this boat, she can run any boat. And that's the darn truth there. So this was a big tug, like an old Carolina boat, 1969 Myron Harris, which if you know anything about Outer Banks and you know about Myron Harris, you know about this is a wood boat and it's a single screw. And so I left early that day. I had a family of 4 on board, and I knew how the bite was offshore.
Yeah.
But I knew how slow that boat was. So I had to leave a lot earlier to get there before all the other guys got there.
Right.
Well, I'd had six dolphin in the box. Really nice ones.
Yeah.
At least 35 inches and above. And I had another fish come on. And I went to go turn on the fish, and I went to reverse back because we were trying to get back the line. And the actual drive shaft broke in the boat. And when the drive shaft broke, it knocked the generator.
Yeah.
Has an export out the back of the boat. It actually knocked that. So all the generator water was coming into the boat.
Oh,
so
wow.
There's nothing. Once the generator goes underwater, you're done.
Right.
Because you don't have it. So the only thing I had on board was a fan. And this fan was hooked into, it's back in where the AC box is.
Mm-hmm.
We have there was a plug on the boat. It ran the microwave and it ran the AC pump. Okay.
Yeah.
So Luckily the fan had a cord long enough. Well, on the fan we had 3 little where you could plug in.
Right.
Well, that's the only thing that ran the crash pump. Well, that was plugged in the generator, and I knew if I lost the generator, I was going to lose the crash pump.
Right.
I lose the crash pump, I'm going down.
Right.
I Mayday.
Right,
Never had to throw a Mayday before, man. That scared the living crap out of me, but I did it because I had people on board.
Right.
I was 23 miles offshore, and I was in about 1,600 feet of water.
Holy moly.
And there was a boat, and I couldn't believe it because I was in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And there was a boat from like here, probably 1,500 yards that way. And I couldn't get his attention. I was trying to get him on the radio. He had everything on whatever mute, probably sitting there sword fishing. Anyway, I got the flare gun out and I just shot it right at him. Boy, that got his attention.
He perked up real quick.
He pulled up. He got over there pretty fast. He's like, ma'am, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm sinking.
No, I just shot a flare at you.
If I'm shooting a flare at you, something's going on. But I got his attention. I didn't hit him.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good thing. So he actually put my customers on board of his boat that was not sinking.
Yeah.
And by that time I had figured out that if I'd put the boat gear, I could keep the water in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting there doing very big, long circles around. And then once the people got off, I had Coast Guard show up.
Yeah.
Not too long after that.
Okay.
But it took about 45 minutes for Coast Guard to respond. But as soon as I got the customers on the boat, I saw this oceanic white tip just circling the boat. And I was like, well, there's the man eater.
Yeah.
And so comes, I ended up catching 6 more dolphin on the troll back in under sea tow.
Okay. Okay.
And then we got back to
you were like, oh, I'm catching.
I'm
gonna get something out of this.
Hey, it was 9 hours back to the dock.
Oh.
I slept, I fished, I ate what was in the customer's cooler. I was hungry and starving, sinking. I was glad to be alive.
Wow.
And everybody, and the funny thing is I get back to the dock and I'm having to be towed in, and they have to turn me because right there at Well Harbor, you gotta go in butt first, because if you gotta go in stern first. So they turned me around and there was a crowd. I'm talking about a crowd on the dock, like 50 people. And I was like, uh-oh. So I pulled in, and the Coast Guard inspector was standing there. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. He's going to holler at me for throwing a flare or something, So I get out and I go up to him and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stake these fish and take these pictures before I talk to you, sir. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I did. And I put it up on social media, and nobody even knew.
Right.
I had the best catch that I'd had in under troll, under tow. Under tow. I caught big fish. Seriously, I am not kidding.
That is crazy.
And I'm sure the towboat US guy, he was like, holy crap. He saw me back there. And he was just like, what are you doing? He called me on the phone. I said, I'm fishing. What do you think? I come out here to fish, not to be towed back home.
So what did your customers say?
Well, they ended up going with a friend of mine the next day. I didn't figure that woman would get back on a boat, but she did. She ended up getting back on the boat, going fishing the next day. But they ate dolphin. I ended up cleaning all those fish. Yeah. But yeah, just really, it was an experience. That's for sure.
Oh, I would say, and your nautical angel was looking after you.
I absolutely. I don't know, but that oceanic white tip shark sure will perk you up. I tell you what, when you see one of them, I'd never seen one in real life till then.
A white tip shark.
White tip, oceanic white tip. They're mostly just a full blue water shark, and they eat people.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that would make me pucker too. Yeah.
I mean, the sharks are. That one is pretty nasty.
That one
was a man eater.
Yeah. Wow.
So
I would say that's
so
good.
I mean, there's been all kinds of stories out there.
Yeah.
I mean, and I got this one captain, this mate came on board with me, and I'm actually looking for a mate right now.
Yeah.
If you know
anybody out there,
anybody that wants to come fishing with me, I promise it's gonna be cool. But anyway, it's we were out there, and the other captain that that he usually rides with, he's like, you better wear a life jacket if you're going with Captain Deb.
Oh, you probably didn't live that down for a little bit.
No, I still don't live that down. That was just a couple weeks ago on this boat. It's good as it can be.
When did that happen? What year was that?
That was last year.
Last year
In March of last year.
You know, I come down to the Keys, and I didn't think I was going to have cold blowing wind.
Oh, it's freezing. I'm shivering right now. I mean, we're
in
Key Largo.
I thought you were getting choked up or something, telling your stories that you're like
cold. We're sitting here at the dock, as you guys see. That's the boat I run back there. That's Hatteras. And we tried to set the camera up so we could have a good background. But you didn't think about that draft coming off that water, did you? Hey, but that's
funneling
that's better than mosquitoes.
Yeah, it's kind of keeping the no-see-ums and mosquitoes off.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know you do multiple things. At like in a year time, what's the most like? You mainly do a lot of private for people, but you also, they allow you to run charters with their boats too.
Yes, I have a particular license where I can actually jump on, like say if a family comes down for vacation and they bring their boat, I can go out with them as a captain. I've done that a lot. I also have a couple private clients that live in my neighborhood. Yeah. And a few in Ocean Reef that I fish.
Okay. So the boat you're running now is basically you run the boat, but you run it for your charter stuff.
Yes. And this boat here, I am that's the charter boat.
Yeah.
The rest of them are private boats. Okay. I also run these little tiny tiki boats every once in a while. Yeah. If I get a wild hare or I got somebody that wants to do that. My main thing is that if someone that's followed me for years and just wants to come out with me, I will try to fix their vacation where I can be with them when they go on a sunset. I can be there for offshore. I can be there for inshore. I can be there for sightseeing. And that the things that I've learned has well-rounded me as a captain where I can give you all those experiences. The only thing I don't do is I do not dive. I don't do that because I know what sharks look like.
Right.
I'm good. I had to punch a hammerhead in its face when I was 16 years old down on Spanish Harbor Key, down in Big Pine Key one time. And I was snorkeling, and my father and I used to catch tropical fish for our aquarium back in North Carolina. Probably the most illegal thing you could probably do is take them back.
But
that was in the 80s and nobody really cared. So anyway, I look back and I was staring a hammerhead, probably a 7-8 footer, right? And I reached back, and just the only thing you can do at that point is just to punch him straight in the nose. And after that, you just don't go out sunset or sunrise.
My mom tells a story when she was little, and everybody's taking pictures of manatees and videos today, and sometimes they're funny as crap. Because I say, when the bilge pump is on in the canal, and they'll turn over on their back and just drink the water. Anyway, she said she was swimming in the I've lost my train. Like over on the East Coast, you have the intercoastal. She was swimming in the intercoastal, and she opened her eyes underwater, and what was staring her was a manatee right in front. She said she almost walked on water. but I never have gotten it. The only I don't call it diving. The only thing I've ever done is snorkel for scallops up in Perry, Florida. That's about the closest you're going to get to me to do that. And I never had a thing, because I know what sharks look like too. And I'm like,
well, I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm a fisherman. I mean, if I want to go down and look around the bottom, I mean, I'll put a mask on and go down there. It's no big deal. But I'm not going to go down there, shoot a fish, put it on my side, and go up, because I like my liver and my spleen.
Well,
so
and
don't want to do
it. And there's stuff down there I really do not want to run into. There's some stuff hiding in some of them wrecks, and I know, but that's just me. I just like. I guess I watched too many movies, but I mean, the thing with me was sharks. Let me ask you this from a captain's. What do you think about the shark population anyway, because I know I don't get to fish a lot because of Powercore Rods. Every time I think I'm gonna get to go fishing, somebody call, hey, I need 10 rods by next week, and then you just do it, and you're like, crap, I missed out on that fishing trip. But every time I go, it's like you catch one fish, and then the rest of the day, you start winding up, tax man, start winding up, or you catch one, and it just seems like they're everywhere.
I think they are. You know, a couple years ago, they took away our shark finning in the South Atlantic, and that really brought in, and sharks are wolves, but in water, and they're a pack animal, and you know they're an ego-based animal. So if you show dominance to those sharks, if you show that, hey, I'm alpha, they will leave you alone. However, in their pack, but there are a lot of sharks out there. And I have been out there with a commercial fisherman before, a bait fisherman, and you don't fall in the water.
No.
There's also days that I go out and I dump 100 pounds of chum in the water, and you don't fall in the water.
No.
And then there's some places that I catch big sharks, and some of these places that people snorkel and they dive. But I really think that all comes down to it is, as long as you're not spear fishing, and as long as you don't have groupers and everything attached to your side, I don't think you're gonna have that. Now, if you get into a feeding frenzy of sharks, like if you fall off the boat in there, you're done. But a shark to swim by and actually just bite you,
except for the white tip.
Well, you don't. Well, that's one of those sharks. You just don't fall in the water. But you don't swim in 2,600 feet.
Right. You're not 20 miles out. Hey, let's take a dip.
I mean, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that at all.
So what? I mean, I know you do the tiki. You drive for other people.
I bartend sometimes.
Yeah.
I wait tables sometimes. I make it happen here. And
you're made up of, you have to have something going on all the time to keep the sanity from setting in.
I guess so. I have to continue to change it up, and I can't, do the same thing over and over again. So that it looks like I have a lot of jobs. And it looks like I have a lot of things that I do, but I go back and visit those. I'm getting ready probably to go down to Key West and fish with some of my favorite people. And they have a 61 Viking down there. They were in Islamorada for a little while. They're a private client of mine, and they're two of my favorite people to fish with. So I'll be down there for a couple days. Come back here, run a charter. Then some days I'll go run a sunset for Pirates Cove Water Sports. Some days I'll go on my own skiff and go float a flat just for my own sanity. But yes, I'm always have to have my mind busy and doing something around here.
Okay.
It's hard. Either that or I'm glued to social media.
So we're getting close to the end, but I know you just recently have kind of connected with a company that you're excited about.
Yes.
And if you want to talk about who how that came about, and go ahead.
Yeah, I just started an affiliation and a sponsorship with Keys Deep. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Carlos Lorenzo is the owner of Key Deep, and he had bought the brand from another captain friend of mine that started it, Scott. And there's so many factors and so many friends and so much networking that we've done over the years, and different people. And the old editor-in-chief of Coastal Angler magazine is now the general manager over Keys Deep. And I had a relationship with him, Bruce Wiggins, and his wife, Patty Wiggins. And that's how I ended up with the relationship with Keys Deep and meeting Carlos. And it's all about networking and things like that. But Carlos has a vision here that I'm so far behind, that I'm behind. And to make everyone's life so much brighter, and he's for this community, and he loves this community. He's he's into the pickleball here, he's into the fishing here, he's into the branding here, he's into so much things that he can do well for Key Largo. And so that's why I'm behind him, and I'm excited about this new affiliation.
Well, I mean, so he's basically taking Keys Deep and bringing everything that Key Largo offers to put it under one thing.
Absolutely.
Like I mean, basically, I guess the idea is if you need fishing captains or you want a fishing charter, you can go through Keys Deep to get that.
Well, that'll be probably later on. But most of it is a clothing thing and apparel thing. We're gonna do a big and beautiful line or something like that for plus size women such as myself. And I have found that, I don't like wearing men's clothes while I'm up there fighting, in the tower. I want my own kind of thing. And as many people as I've talked to and looked online, they don't really want to do that. He's all for it, everything about it. And he's well over that, or, into that. Also, I have a big, deep relationship with other people here in Key Largo, one being Pirates Cove Water Sports, who, and as I say that I don't dive, they take care of all that for me. I don't do certain things. You can call them and they take care of it for you. So it's all about the networking and the relationships that you built, that I built throughout here.
It's kind of funny. You talk about the, plus size on fishing stuff, which, even for us plus size guys, there's a lot of brands that only go up to a certain size in the waist. Exactly. And so I took that into consideration because I don't have a lot of marketing or whatever for the GFB Fishing. I saw that also because I had girls that I met at ICAST that said, hey, if you're doing apparel, make sure it's, over 2X, know? And so I looked at, I do more print on demand stuff, but I looked and I found different places and they're American made that is up to like 6X with the leggings. And, and I saw that needed to be, if I had a better marketing, it would probably work. But I saw that. Look, when I started that, when I had the idea, because I had Girls Fish 2 before I had Girls.
Exactly. I remember you.
So that was 13 years ago. And at that time, I would stop at, in Valdosta, at Dick's or whatever. And you go through those things and I would hardly ever see a woman's fishing stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, well, why not? It wasn't 2 months later. Of course, I had $5,000 and I'm going to make hat shirt and it did good locally. But it was 2 months later, I go back into that store and it's like somebody read my mind and or like Columbia read my mind and said,
yes,
oh, here's all the girls' clothing. And I went, what the crap?
Yeah, I think that the past 3 years, it's really gone humongously viral. And I think that a lot of women are, now that social media is out there, they want to look good when they're out on the water. And it's not all about bikinis and topless, in this field. And some of us are mothers and some of us are grandmothers, and we don't want all that showing everywhere. I mean, there's a time and a place for that, and that's not it on a boat. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
I still haven't seen where, I mean, I've seen the pink, like Grundens, but I've never seen like designed ones. And it's weird because in my mind, I'm like, man, somebody come up with that.
I think that it started with shoes, and it's starting with shoes with different colors and different brands. And I think that the more that the ICAST see that women are the biggest are the biggest growth in fishing right now in the fishing industry. There's humongous amounts of growth, and people want to go fishing, and especially women.
Do you know during COVID there was like 19 million women that went fishing during COVID? So yeah,
I'm on these few of these Facebook pages. One is Women's Fishing. Been on it since probably 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
It's got over 70,000-80,000 members.
Right.
You have to be a woman to get in.
Right.
And they have
to
hit
you
that
can't
like
claim
button.
you're a woman.
No tutus allowed on that business. Absolutely
My bad.
not.
My bad.
No. Absolutely not.
But yeah, so we're almost done.
Yep. We got a giveaway to go to.
Yeah, so I did say we're going to do a giveaway. We've already drawn it. We've already drawn it beforehand because we had some difficulties. I forgot a lot of crap, and we just kind of piecemealed this together, but it turned out good. We pulled it out.
In the hat
and
pulled
them out, and I'll let you introduce the winner of the Girls Fish Better crappie rod, since it's really crappie season.
Yes. And it's beautiful. It's pink and it's
and turquoise.
It's turquoise and it's blue water girl colors, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this and can't wait for the Obsession rod.
So the winner is
going to be Miss Terry Huffmaster from Valdosta, Georgia today.
Is she from Valdosta?
She sure is. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. My daughter went to Moultrie, so I know Valdosta good.
So I know she's watching tonight because I gave her the heads up that we would be saying some things, and so we definitely did a hat draw, and she's always the lucky one from me.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Miss Terry. I want to see a big old slab on that rod.
Slab.
Slab. And I know she catches them, I'm telling you.
Yeah, just DM me on either the boat ramp, Girls Fish Better, Powercore, one of them, and just send me your address and I'll send it to you.
Absolutely.
So when I get back, I'm going fishing tomorrow. I'm going fishing tomorrow.
Are you even thinking about going back?
I don't want to.
I asked you today. And
I'm like, how can I work remotes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fishing tomorrow afternoon. I have an afternoon half.
Okay.
It took me down to I called 9 different deckhands to try to find me a deckhand for tomorrow. So I finally got one on the 9th call. So if anybody wants to come out, especially a woman, I'm willing and ready to train one and to have someone that's a complete monster in my pit. And that's what I want.
Right.
I want to be able to go out and compete. Yeah. And I can't do that if I don't have the right person on my deck.
Right. Well, thank you so much for doing this and being able to see your new boat. And it's been fun.
Yeah, I'm going to take you fishing.
Oh, yeah, we'll go fishing. But we're going to do flats because I built you that one where you can get under the.
I caught a yellowtail snapper on your Obsession rod on the boat the other day. But yes, I do have that rod you built me. Yeah. So that rod actually is so I can stand on the bow of my flats boat and do it backwards.
Yep.
And then do a flip.
Oh yeah.
With straight up underneath the mangroves.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it works like a charm.
And that one
beautiful.
Will pull a monster.
Oh, it's going
to. That is a 400 gram.
She's thick in the hips like me.
Oh, yeah. It's got backbone for days.
It's got backbone for days. You pull out that 30, 35. It's been a pleasure. Actually.
Yeah. So thank everybody for watching. Appreciate you. And enjoy Friday this weekend. And I may do one tomorrow night. I don't know. Depends on what time I get back from fishing. So 2 guys and 1 dock may start back up next weekend, but we'll see. We'll see what mood I'm in. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
See you next time. Hold on. Yeah, that's
on the stage.